This is Rajkumar, and in today's video, I'm going to discuss about the topic about the anxiety for the modern knowledge worker. And there is a lot of research and academical studies has been populated when it's come to dealing with the anxiety and the sources of the anxiety. And nowadays there is a biggest challenge is facing knowledge worker is that they are overwhelmed by the lot of inputs or kind of the informations. So basically I'm going to give you the three studies or the researches has been taken by the Microsoft Office when it's come to a knowledge worker, and what is the implication of that and how to deal with that. The first study is taken by the Microsoft Research in 2021 about the digital overload study, because we almost everything we working on a digitally manner. Knowledge worker is mean it means that we apply or use our knowledge on the system and a framework which is based on the desktop basis or the application and software basis. Basically, everything we do the basic stuff from our office work to communication, the meetings and uh, the summaries and reports and everything is starting from the first draft to end output. We are dealing with our studies expertise and conversation with the desktop work. So the key finding is digital meetings fatigue is increasing anxiety by 30%, because in corporate world there is a lot of meetings is going there. There was a even if there is a manager or the senior manager or the HOD kind of the people have to go for the meetings, and this is a fascinating study is that it is increase your anxiety by 30%. And a lot of time we heard that anytime the persons who's going to meeting have to face the meeting, they annoying the meetings. This is the like it is a casual way and there is no any agenda, no any objective, and unnecessarily this is keeping the burden or the output of the our work which is actually need to be deal with or the need to be concerned. And the second is impact of the work from home on a professional anxiety. This is the Harvard Business Review research taken on the 2020, and which reveals that the 67% of the remote workers experience increased anxiety from work from home due to the boundary blurring and its impact. So after the COVID, there is a trend is emerge as a work from home system, and there is a lot of freedom also, but at the same time there is a lot of constraints also, because what we face, we work in a environment of the physical space or the physical communication instead of digital or the virtual communication and dealing in everything. So it is based on our individual personality, our traits of the characteristics and values. And if we are so much busy and we will try to make up something out of our own beside from our regular 9 to 5, then work from home is a blessings. But what is the 67% revealing is that it is also creating the anxiety, because at that time we have to deal not only with the official work, but at the same time our internal home travels or the errand works is also going to disturb us, because there is a kids, there is our family members, there is a lot of interruptions. So our boundaries become blur. So we have to deal with the blurring the boundary, and we have to deal with some solutions about the boundary. And third research has been taken on the cognitive load and anxiety in knowledge worker, the Journal of Applied Psychology 2020. And the key finding is that tasks which increase anxiety by 40%. So every time we as a knowledge worker we try to work on our job description or our key responsibility area KRA or the preferred routinal work, and we as soon as we start the work, and what happens is that there is a constant stream of stimulus, or I can say that the interruptions is always coming through us from our co-workers by phone or by physical inputs like giving the guidance or the answering the questions or receiving phone or answering the emails, checking the emails, what is updates, even though, and there is a factory of interruptions which is our mobile itself. So by whole means, if we are not become so conscious of these things, then it gradually and definitely it will increase our anxiety level, and cognitively we become very fatigued, and we become very tired at doing that, because constant interruptions is the form of pulling our attentions from what we are actually doing at the time of execution. So what is the solution? We have to time block our we have to block our times for the specific kind of task where we need our focused attention in a specific frame of the time. We have to implement the deep work system or the deep work sessions, which is prevailed by the Carl Newpoint, and they reduce the notifications interruptions. But there is only solution is that, after all, whatever we facing in terms of anxiety, who is the person who allows all these things? There is no external thing, but it is ourself, our acceptance to and response to those stimuli is disrupting us more than the actual thing. The information overload is the next challenging thing, which is increasing the anxiety or the stress in the 78%. And a lot of knowledge worker report anxiety from information overload, because we cannot process information properly, and we taking all the inputs and information as the same importance, even though it was not so much important at that moment of time, but we considering and making ourselves so much conscious of replying, responding, and doing something in our side. It is the cause of all anxiety creation. And the next one is a performance anxiety, which is the biggest, it become the biggest challenge, because it will increasing our anxiety level by more than a 68% in a specific time frame or the specific kind of project or any work. The key finding is perfectionism related anxiety affects 82% of high performance solutions. So if we are and we are so much enthusiasm of the to the detail, step by step process. We are too much skeptical and analyze about the output and execution, and if we assume that there is no chance of making any mistake throughout the process or throughout the our working, and this sense of perfectionism is the forming the one layer of the anxiety, even without starting our task or the work itself. So we have to become a mindful of that. So we have to take a clear conversation, clear specification, need for making boundaries, and we have to stake our values structure approaches to dealing with that. So overall, this the main concern is to that is there is a, because anxiety is something is that directly directly invoke our survival mechanism, because when any danger is happen to us, our brain is mobilize whole energy to deal with that, either in a flight mode response creation manner. So instead of taking this anxiety as a curse, or we can say it is a challenge, how can we convert this anxiety in a more mindful manner? Or what if the anxiety isn't your enemy, but rather it is like a check engine lights, like if we are driving a car or our vehicle, and there is indications comes on a way on our indication meter is that you need to check engine, there is a signal. So we do stop our car, and we do stop our vehicle, or we stop immediately, and we check our engine signal, or it is a kind of, no, this is the thing we have to look after, and we can, if we going to be prolonged longer time, then my engine is going to be fail. But we immediately not stop, and we do not throw everything out and directly go to respond that light or indication. It is just the indication. So it means that it is trying to alert you to something important, what might be trying to tell you. So in these times sometimes we feel stuck, like we feel frozen, which is the our younger part of ourselves might be seeking comfort and safety in that moment. Sometimes we become so engrossed in by just thought alone when it's come to any mistakes or the interruptions happen to us, and we have to deal with our supervisor or the bigger people. Then this alarm is always indicating us to look after that. So it has a voice and could speak directly to our psyche, and we must take into account to address this thing. So what is the action step we can take so that we can reduce these levels of the anxiety while we doing our digital work, whether we were be challenged by the information overload, or we are facing challenging on the attending meetings and not making any progress based on that meetings. This is all the same thing, because lot of knowledge worker are learn something every day. Learning has a key insights, and we do attend lot of workshop and seminars and reading books, but what is the meaning which is not going to give us output. And one, I am also the firm example of uh, creating this anxiety by learning alone. So this is now become indication for me also to take account on that and apply some solutions to that. So what is the solution is, when it's come to dealing with anxieties, there is a lot of solutions, but I will focus on the few things, that is physiological solutions. Like we sometimes have to take a deep breathing as soon as we come across these signals. Physical, we can do some physical movements, or the we have to we can come across, we have to up on from our chair and move something, or move our attention from the that immediate thought process or what's going in us, which is alarming our survival mechanism. Psychological solution is like a validated feeling that makes sense, it is a real it is real or not. Like a practice self compassion. Self compassion, we always cloud ourselves while the optimum level of the performance, optimum level of the response. But if it becomes the self pity or self compassion, then it will reduce the level of the intensity of a trigger that is increasing our anxiety at the same time. So practicing self compassion is the one solution. And environmental solution is like reduce the toxic exposures. If you're always prone in the always in the stream of the peoples, or the our operational functional activities, or the direct responses like that, match in intervention with our state of being, combine multiple healing approaches. We can heal our thoughts by journaling, by writing, or by addressing with our someone co-worker who we believe with ourselves, believe with our values, or the value system is the little bit of combination of value system for both of us. So this is the few action steps we can take and avoid anxiety while we are working creatively on our growth, on our career.